Boy, are we learning the hard way why the phrase, "I hope you live in interesting times," is considered a curse. Hi everybody, Daphne here, and welcome back to my channel. Since we're all stuck here together, before we get started, check out my artwork at the galleries and social media sites next to me here on the side. And don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell so you can get notified whenever I upload a new video. And as always, and especially now more than ever, there's free comics waiting for you at the link in the description box below, so don't forget to sign up for them. So as I'm recording this, it's now Monday, and it marks the first day of the third week that we're going into in, I don't want to say lockdown mode, but pretty much the don't go outside if you don't have to mode. This new reality started for me on the 15th of March, and I've pretty much not left the house except to go to the grocery store and come back. That's it. Literally straight line and back. In these 2 weeks, I had a lot of time to think about everything that's going on and what I'm learning from this. Now, before everything really started getting serious, there was a lot of jokes going around how it's like, oh, how we all might have to quarantine, or there might be a lockdown, or everyone's going to have to shelter in place. And, it turns out all of these terms are kind of inaccurate for what's going on. Because I guess like these particular terms have actual bureaucratic or legal definitions. So that's why, especially now, people are trying hard not to use those terms. Right now in New York, we have New York on pause. Pretty much no unnecessarily going outside. You can still go outside to go grocery shopping. You can still go outside to exercise. If you don't have to, they prefer you not. And especially if you're a part of the vulnerable population that is especially targeted by the disease. And the funny thing is that even though I'm already demonetized, for being a smaller channel, not for, anything else, I'm going to go ahead and still avoid using the actual name of what's going on, because it seems that YouTube is kind of acting weird towards videos that talk about it. So if I'm not mentioning it directly, it's because of that. Before all of this started, there was a lot of chatter on Twitter about how, being locked down because of a pandemic was going to be a good thing, because think of all the things we're going to finally be able to accomplish being home all day, not being able to go outside, and being able to concentrate on our hustle, pretty much, as Rise and Grind Twitter likes to talk about. It's like, use this time to work on your side hustles and blah, blah, blah. And also there was a meme that started going around about, William Shakespeare wrote King Lear when he was quarantined during the Black Plague. So what's your excuse? And another meme that was going around was like, you want us to stay home all day and not go outside? It's like, graphic designers and, introverts. It's like, ha, we got this. It's like, finally my country asking me to do something that I'm excellent at. So there was all of these jokes going around about how, so we get to stay home all day. Oh, that's great. Well, I think we learned the hard way after the first week that this wasn't going the way we thought it was going to go. And I'm not even talking about pandemic wise. I'm talking about learning after the first week how mentally unprepared a lot of us were, even when we thought that it's like, this will be easy. You're just asking me to stay home and just work on my stuff. Easy peasy. We're now entering the third week, and this is looking to go on until mid-April. And there's a lot of signs saying this could go on until past June. So Yeah. So about that. So I was one of these people thinking that, oh, this will be easy. I'm home all day anyway. I don't like going outside. I'll just stay home and work. And, the first couple of days felt like that. It was, sure, things were a little different, but, it was like, okay, all right, yeah, there's no problem, right? I'm sitting here, I'm working on the next issue of Tall Tales, doing my layouts, breaking down the script. It's like, oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah, we're working on it, And then it's like probably by, maybe like the fourth or fifth day, especially after having to go a couple of times to the supermarket and realizing that was the only outdoor activity I was getting, that's when things started to sink in that it was different, especially when you go outside and there's nobody out there. I don't exactly live in a really, really busy neighborhood. It's not like, it's like Manhattan or whatnot. But it was kind of noticeable that it's like, oh, these streets are empty. It's like I had to go to the post office. I had to go to the supermarket. And it's like, there is something going on, especially when you go to the supermarket. It's like walking into a church. Everyone is like dead silent and just getting their stuff and just getting to the registers and leaving as quickly as possible. It was just like, pretty intense. Like all of a sudden, like doing the simplest things had a certain intensity to it, which was kind of weird. And then it's like by the time we got to the first, like through the first week, that's when it began to hit me, staying home and doing nothing all day isn't as easy as it looks. And it's really funny because after the first week, Rise and Grind Twitter got really, really, really quiet. Let's just put it that way. All of a sudden, after the first week, all the, what did you accomplish today? And blah, blah, blah. And it's like, and here's my strictly segmented schedule and blah, blah, blah. And it's like all of a sudden, it's like those tweets started disappearing. Because after the first week, that's when everyone started realizing, yeah, this isn't a vacation. And also after the first week was when people started losing their jobs. It's like if you weren't part of 20% of the population that could work from home, it meant that you either worked in an essential business that had to stay open, or you didn't. And if you didn't, maybe you lucked out that your company paid you anyway for staying home. But then there are people who weren't so lucky and they had to stay home and not get paid. And the funny thing about side hustles is that side hustles only work if people have money to support that. Yeah, it got weird really quick. And I noticed a lot of people started getting really, really quiet on Twitter about that. And never mind Animal Crossing coming out, so we all know where that went too. So let's just put it this way. Ain't nobody spending pandemic quarantine time writing King Lear. And the thing I want to say about that is that that's okay. That's okay if you had all these grandiose ideas about what quarantine was going to look like, and that you were going to get all this stuff done, and oh, you were going to be a creative powerhouse, and it's like, oh, think of all the artwork and everything I'm going to be able to do because I'm home all day. And you know what? It's okay if you didn't, because it is different. This is not a vacation. This is something else entirely that we've pretty much can safely say we've never been through before. Sometimes you just want to spend a pandemic in peace and not have to worry about what are we accomplishing. We don't even know when this is going to end. So it's like, you know what? With everything else being a stressor during this period, wondering how you're going to write the great American novel shouldn't be one of your priorities, and that's okay. In my case, again, I was used to being home all the time. I was used to being home with the option of just going outside and doing whatever I wanted. This time, I had no option. It's like, well, either I'm going to the supermarket or I'm going to the post office, and that's it. I cannot do anything else. Nothing's open. There's nothing going on. No one's allowed to to hang out with each other in groups. Like I said, it felt different. So what I tried to do, or what I did, what I am doing, is that, like I said, I'm working on the next issue of Tall Tales. Breaking down my script, working on my layouts. It's a process. In the end, it's the exact same process I'm going through before and now. Like, nothing's changed. Being forced to stay home hasn't really changed my process, but the overall feeling is different. But at the same time, it's like I'm not sitting here going, oh, it's like, you know what, I can use this time to finish this issue or whatnot. And it's like, no, that's not what's going on. It's like, you know what, I'm doing this and that in the time frame I would have done it anyway. For me, being at home by myself, pretty much, my situation hasn't changed. But the thing is, though, a lot of people are staying home who are not used to this time. They're not used to this time, but now they're probably staying home with people they're not used to having around them all the time either. You know, it's like, yeah, okay, we can say William Shakespeare wrote King Lear while he was under quarantine, but you know what? I bet you he wasn't doing his laundry. I bet you he wasn't cleaning his own house. I bet you he wasn't taking care of his own kids. I don't know. Did Shakespeare have kids? I don't know. That's not the point. My whole point is that, yeah, he may have sat down and wrote King Lear, but that's because he had probably a whole army of people doing everything for him so that he can concentrate on working on that. The average person doesn't have that. Not only do you all of a sudden, are you home all day, which you're not used to doing, but now you're home all day taking care of people who aren't used to being home all day either. If you don't have time to write King Lear, don't worry about it. You know, you know what? You'll have other times to write. If that's meant for something for you to do, you're going to end up doing it regardless of whether you're locked in your house or not because of a pandemic. So it's like, so don't worry about using this time to be productive. Honestly, use this time to do the best you can. I don't know which is worse. Of course, I'm being hyperbolic here. The end of the world is so not like the movies, or realizing like really how boring it is. 5 years from now, people are going to ask, so what did you do during the pandemic? I did laundry. I cleaned my house. I did some layouts for my comic. Yeah, I guess. So it's like nobody should be expecting themselves to be grandiose under these circumstances. Okay, there's enough going on. Oh, you want to play video games. You want to just do simple things. You want to, do paper dolls with your kids. That's fine. Please. It's like we need all the mental capacity that we can just to get through this. And we shouldn't be distracting ourselves with stressors that are so unnecessary right now. If you have work to do, please go do it, because what I'm finding is that at least working on my comic is a good distraction from after I watch Governor Cuomo's press conferences every day, just to give me enough information to be informed, but not more to turn me into a nervous wreck, right? I mean, that's not helpful either. You know what? If you're not writing King Lear, it's okay. Nobody's writing King Lear. We're all just trying to get through these very, very strange times. We don't need to add more on top of it if we don't have to. So it's okay. It's okay. So who wants to look at some layouts? This is the work that I've been doing since we started. So this is my script for issue 6, and I've been highlighting all the dialogue and trying to break up descriptions so I can get like a better idea as to how I want the panels to look, or what scene is going to go into what panel. I'm not like doing like really, really detailed stuff. This is the layout stage. That's really just all I'm worried about in terms of, like the composition of the pages, what characters go where, what kind of background I'm going to need to find reference for. The only marks and stuff that I would need to do is like, be able to know like which characters are which, because like I said, I'm not really fussing with what is going on the page at this point. Right now it's just to get the visuals and the timing between the panels done. I've been using this pen because the thing that I like about doing layouts with pen is that it just forces me to just go ahead and do the sketches and call it a day. With a pencil, it's very easy to fuss and erase. It's like, oh, you know, this here, this here. And it's like, no, with a pen, it's like, look, okay, this is what I want the scenes to look like. That's it. That's how it's going to look. That's the idea of the scene, and we're going to move on. Sometimes I tape some important reference. If I was being inspired in particular by certain panels or something, I want to just have them nearby so that I can reference them when I do the pencils later. So yeah, so pretty much it's like it's just that. So far, yeah, so far what I have here has taken me the full 2 weeks. Like I said, I started this on the 15th. Today is the 30th. I have 2 more scenes to go before I finish this issue, and it's like, if you're looking at this going, how can I tell what's going on from some of these messes that are on the screen on the page? Well, if I'm lucky, when I finally go back to these, I will still know what I was trying to portray. There were some times where I went back to look at some layouts and I had no idea what I was trying to do on the page, and I kind of guessed my mindset at the time. As of today, I have 2 more scenes to do. The thing is though, when I usually do these layouts, I try really hard to keep them within 32 pages. So I wanted to keep everything within those parameters. But this issue is turning out to be a little bit longer than I thought, or I want to make it. Because if I made it this 32 pages, I would have to really compress a lot of scenes. As we're printing this ourselves, I don't have to do that. So if you went through an offset printer, you would have to add multiples of 8 to your pages because of the way that offset prints. But because we're using a digital printer, I only have to worry about pages in multiples of 4. I kind of decided if I couldn't do 32, which was already established, I couldn't fit it into 32, I was going to try to make it 36. Even though I don't want to squish scenes to fit a certain parameter, the other thing I don't want to do is stretch out scenes. So I figured 36 was probably going to be the best middle ground. I really didn't want to go past 40. Also at the same time, I thought 40 might be a little bit too many pages. Also at this point, I started playing around with sketching with a fountain pen. This is the Moonman M2. I don't know, there's just, it gave me like, if you kind of notice the difference between these done with the regular pen and then these done with the fountain pen, it's just funny to see how it's, even though they're still scribbles, they just feel a little bit more detailed to me. I don't know, and I also like doing the artwork, that the sketches with a fountain pen comes off as like really fancy. I just found myself enjoying drawing the layouts more because of doing, I mean, it's just really funny. I guess it's like, I don't know whether being inside for 2 weeks is making me crazy over little dumb details like this, or whether it's a real, I don't know. I just found myself enjoying doing the layouts more by drawing it with a fountain pen, and I found myself thinking a little bit more detail so that I know I don't have to guess further. I mean, I don't know if this is making any sense or not, because for all I know, this looks completely the same to you and it only looks different to me. I just feel that the layouts that I did at this point just feels a little bit more satisfying because of the pen. Yeah, so I was doing this, and also sometimes what I'll do is that I'll copy panels that I decide that I want, and then I'll just tape them in place, because already like here I wanted the extra panel and I ended up pushing the original panels that were here, I ended up pushing here. This is where I started figuring out that's like, okay, 30, what was it, 30, 34, 36 pages was probably going to be my magic number. And then it's like, here's where I laid out the rest of my panels to finish. If I'm not able to finish it the way I want to, the other idea is for me to go through like everything else and try to expand or kind of shorten scenes in order to fill out the pages to 36 without looking like I'm stretching stuff or adding or compressing too much. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. So I hope you enjoyed this, I guess, preview of the next issue. That's about it for me. This isn't King Lear, but it's my comic. It's important to me. We're in strange times. Don't pressure yourself to all of a sudden be a creative powerhouse. I think what also a lot of people are learning is that just because you're home all day doesn't mean things are easier to work on. But I don't know. You know, I think after 2 weeks of being home, I'm just rambling at this point. So keep it easy. Wash your hands. Don't go outside if you don't have to. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye.